All right, screen's good. Good to go. It is 5 o'clock. We had an appointment at 5 o'clock, so let's get going. Hello. Hi. Welcome. I have people on Zoom in the room, so I'm gonna look both places. I love it. For those who don't know me and also the recording I'm going to send, my name is Alana Huber-Katz, coach here at Keller Williams Legacy. And you'll see on my screen here a bunch of different playbooks. Tonight, we're going to focus on the open house one. All right, so I'm going to go ahead and open up the open house playbook. I will, there we go. So I'm going to talk through a bunch of these. What I'm going to talk through here, we actually have two. Okay, so we got the open house playbook. And then we actually have the millionaire real estate agent playbook that has a few extra goodies in it for open houses. So I'm going to kind of resort to both of them. And really what we're going to go through are best practices on how to host a really effective open house to not just capture buyers, but also capture sellers. Okay. So let me just ask this question. Has anybody hosted an open house before?
Yes, I have.
Okay. And why as agents, why do we host an open house? Why would we do it?
It puts you in front of people, potential buyers who come in. You can try to convert them if you're not already working with an agent. Kirsten was saying you could door knock before the open house so the sellers around and get seller leads.
So puts you in front of potential clients, right? Absolutely, right? Number one, it's great practice. Number two, so the nationwide stats, here's, thank you, Lauren, absolutely. And so there's research done every year nationwide of top producers. And one of the research studies that is done year over year that this one stat has not changed for over 10 years, if not more. And that is that top producers get business from 3 top sources. One of them being, does anybody want to know what the first one is? It's not open house. What's the first one? Does anybody want to guess?
Your spheres.
Your sphere. Which referrals is from your sphere? So both of you were correct. Your sphere, right? Your friends, your family, who you know, who knows you and likes you, all of that. The second top source, anybody want to take a guess? Do you see? Hint, nudge, nudge. Open houses. This is actually the second top source that top producers nationwide use to build their business. This has been a proven top source year over year. Okay. Now, here's what's great about open houses. As newer agents, now when I say newer, I'm talking about agents who are less than 12 closings a year. Typically do their own open houses. When agents get to a certain level where they are what I like to refer to as hustling, okay, they got an admin, they have a showing assistant, they have listings and buyers, all this great stuff. They need help with their open houses. Okay. So if you're sitting there as an agent going, well, I don't have a listing yet, that doesn't matter. We have agents here at Legacy who literally do 2, 3. We had someone who did 4 open houses on a weekend. None of them were their listings. So we'll talk a little bit at the end if we have time about best practices to lead gen for open houses to do on the weekend. It's actually lead genning agents to find open houses and some best practices on even what to say to that agent and line that up. So let's dive into the actual playbook itself. Okay. So I'm not going to read every screen to you. You can take screenshots. I can share this out, all that good stuff. Okay. By the way, I do want to read this. Now, this isn't on the screen here, but I am going to read it. The first open house was held in blank year. What year? Here you go. Ready? We're going to have a history lesson. I didn't even know this until literally just now. What year, because I skipped this page, I went from straight to the activities.
Yeah.
What year do you think the first open house was ever held? Who wants to take a guess?
It's not multiple choice.
Okay. You know what? That's a great point. That's a great point. Okay, I'm gonna give you open choice. A, B, and C. Okay, so A is 1970. B is 1910, and C is 1962.
1962.
Okay, so I heard 1962. Any guesses on Zoom? You can also put in the chat box.
No, I want to switch to that.
You want to switch to 1970? Actually, 1910.
Really?
1910,
That's crazy.
right?
Yeah.
1910 was the first ever open house. That's crazy. We all just, so everybody used to learn one new thing per day.
That's fine.
There you go. Now you have your Jeopardy thing. All right. So since then, real estate agents all over the world have continued to host them as a way to sell their listings and also meet future buyers and sellers. According to the 2021 Home Buyers and Sellers report put out by the National Association of Realtors, 53% of all home buyers sourced information about a property at an open house. Now, notice I did not say 53% purchased an open house, that the home they saw an open house. 53% sourced information. Two very different things. There is a very low percentage of homes actually sold by an open house. All right. So let's talk about some myths, right? We're going to get into some actual best practices to make what's called a 7-level open house. Most agents go maybe 1, maybe 2 levels deep on doing an open house, and then hope they might get a lead or two. There's actually a 7-level strategy that we're going to walk through. So you're going to have 7 things before you walk out of here tonight. Sound good?
Yes.
Okay, thank you. I'm just going to stand here until someone answers me. Listen, it's after 5 and I'm hungry, so I'm just going to be snarky. Is that cool?
Yeah.
Is that all right? I mean, I had a Kit Kat and a peppermint patty and some gummy bears. I'm on a candy fix right now. I'm a little sugar high. All right. Open house myths. Buyers who come to open houses are not ready to buy. Is that true?
Buyers who come to open houses are a waste of time. No.
The reality is almost everyone who comes to an open house will transact. They will buy a house. Some are now buyers. Other could be future business, meaning their nurture business, meaning that's your, is anybody, raise a hand. You don't have to come up with you, raise your hand. Do you want business in May? June, February, September, November next year? Holiday? Okay. See where I'm going with this? So we have to treat everybody who comes into an open house as a new future client of ours. Future might mean tomorrow. Future might mean next year, November. Either way, we need to treat them as if they're our next client, right? I'm not going to read every single one of these to you for sake of time, but I'm going to read one more. The main reason to have an open house is to sell that listing. True or false? The main reason to have an open house is to sell that listing.
Well, yeah, maybe. I don't know. If I'm hosting it for somebody else, yes.
Okay, so you're saying that the main reason to host an open house is to sell the listing.
I would think so.
So
sounds like a trick question.
I know, right, Daniel? Okay, so here's the thing. It is a trick question, right? Now I'm going to read what this says, but it is a trick question because here's what you think. If you are representing the seller, so your responsibility is to the seller, then you're holding an open house or having someone hold it for you, or all of you are holding it to get the leads. You're holding it in hopes to sell the listing.
Right.
Okay. The actual main reason to have an open house is lead generation. Oh, welcome. Hi. Oh, you're good. So the actual reason to have an open house is as a lead generation tool. When we have a well-executed prospecting and marketing for an open house, it's going to bring you buyer leads and attract neighbors who are curious about selling. Okay. So that's why a lot of agents are lining up 2, 3, 4 open houses during a weekend or even weeknight. Okay. I'm going to read number 4 in a second because I like it. Because the agent's not, if I land a listing tomorrow and I don't want to host my own open house, I am going to call Kim and be like, Kim, are you free Saturday to host my open house? Right? And the benefit of Kim taking time out of her schedule, I'm not paying her any money. I'm not handing her money to do it. The benefit is, number one, experience, getting to know people, connecting with people. But then at the end of the day, leads. It's lead generation, right? So then if Kim markets it properly and does the 7 steps that you're about to go walk through, she should walk away with buyers and even maybe a seller. Both. Most people also think, another myth is people think open houses are just to get buyer leads. There's actually an agent I met once. He lives in Austin, Texas. He gets more seller leads than buyer leads from doing open houses. He gets more listings from doing open houses than he does buyers. We're going to talk about that as we talk about the different levels of marketing. I'll share with you the one thing he does that makes that happen. And then finally, open houses only work if you do them on weekends. The right day and time for an open house can vary. An open house for a listing in a retirement community with a golf course may get better traffic on a weekday, 4 to 6, between 4 to 6. After the first tee time than it will on a weekend. Right? An evening open house during the week may be perfect in an area where many employers require weekend shifts. So you have to think about, okay, where's the house? Now, if you're hosting an open house for another agent, they might have already lined up the listing for you and the open house for you. So then you say, yes, I can do Sunday at that time, great. But if you see a listing, let's say in, let me think of an area, a highly populated area around a hospital. Okay, there's tons of houses right around a huge main hospital. Maybe you say to that agent, hey, I'd love to do one Sunday. Can I also do one Thursday night or Tuesday night? That agent's gonna be like, absolutely, go ahead, please. Let me just call the owner, make sure it's okay. But if they can leave the house, yes, who's gonna say no to 2? Right? Unless the owner does, because they don't want to leave the house. Again, we have these myths in our head, like, oh, we can only do them on weekends, or oh, we can only do this. I was in California a few weeks ago and I was flying out on Tuesday and I had some time in the morning and I was at the Keller Williams office out there and they're like, oh, hey, do you want to, I was like, where's everybody? I was like, oh, they're all at the broker opens. And yeah, so a broker open is when you have a property that is typically luxury, but you can also do close to luxury. Like you wouldn't do like typically broker opens for anything less than what, 700,000 maybe, 800,000, somewhere around there, right? Depends on the property location. I would say there's anything. A broker open is where you're not putting it as an open house online for buyers to go to. It's actually where you're listing it as a open house solely for agents to attend. So then you're marketing it to agents to see before you open it up to the public.
Why would you do that?
That's a great question. Why would you do that? What do you think?
So their buyers are aware?
Yep. Number one, it makes those agents feel really special. It makes the agents feel super special. Oh, yeah, Burgers Open. So the Burgers Opens I went to in California, none of them had food. But based on the locations and the price of the property, that does not surprise me. Okay. Because I wouldn't want food in that house either, and people getting crumbs on that house. All right. Like you need to bring a vacuum with you, like all that. But I did go to one in Annapolis once, and they had a whole catering spread. They had champagne, a wine tasting, like
And that's on the drawing also. Yes, they're trying to get you there.
Yes, yes, they are fun. So again, as agents, we tend to think like this, right? We put these little blinders on, right? And we go, okay, I'm going to do an open house. I'm going to create a flyer, put some signs out, and then hope people show up. Right? That is what not to do. So now let's actually walk through some of the steps. Step number 1, pick the right house. So I'll give you best practice on this. If you just got a listing yourself, obviously do an open house, right? And you want to do it the week you get the listing. Don't wait a week or 2 weeks or 3 weeks. If you get a listing today, being Wednesday, do the open house and it's going active this week, you want to do the open house this weekend. Okay. If you don't have listings and you're like, well, I really want to do open houses this weekend, let's walk through how to pick the right house. Okay. So number 1, and I was sharing this with Lauren earlier today, is some agents and this is such a great best practice. I so recommend this. There's an agent who started doing this a while back, and I was like, oh my God, I can't take credit for it. He started doing it, and I was like, that's brilliant. What he does is on Mondays, he takes his lead generation time, and he takes the first portion of it, right? And he pulls up in Bright MLS his brokerages. So Keller Williams Legacy, he puts in our brokerage number to look up our inventory. We have for anyone here with Legacy, we have a video on how to do that, like how to look up our agent's inventory. It pulls, and then he puts in a time frame, and he typically starts with just going 7 days back. If there's not enough, then he'll go 14 days back, but he usually just starts with 7 days back. It then gives him a list of all the listings that are both coming soon and active between today and 7 days back. He then sorts them by price. So in Bright MLS, you can sort at the top. So he sorts them, right? And then what he's looking for is, first he's looking at location. Why am I saying that? Why do you want to start with location? Why do you think? So you're an agent about to do an open house. You're looking for an open house to do this weekend. Why do you want to look at so you're choosing, what agents am I calling to try to line up an open house? Why do you want to start with what location it's in? What do you think?
Price point, driving distance.
Okay, driving distance, right there. Okay, where do you live? What area?
Woodlawn.
Okay, Woodlawn. Okay, do you want to drive to the Eastern Shore?
No.
Okay, now if it's like a $2.1 million property, get me in my car, I'm all, yes, let me go there, right? But you're correct, right? So if you do an open house, you're going to get buyer leads, which means those buyers are looking around that area. So if you get in your car, if you're spending 2 hours at a home, an hour or 2 door knocking, all this marketing time in a location that, if you get a buyer, and that the people who are, yeah, I saw that too. There's like a fly in here, I'm guessing. Is that a fly? There's 2 flies. We got 2. What are they? Are they flies? Oh, there's ladybugs. Oh, we have ladybugs in here right now. Those are lucky. Okay. Everybody's getting open houses, people. Leads for all, leads for all. So you want to choose the right location for you. So location comes first, because you don't want to be driving to that buyer who wants to see a house in Eastern Shore 3-4 times a week and on weekends and weeknights, right? Like, I live in Howard County. Unless the buyer is like, I'm pre-approved for 700,000 or above, I'm not driving up to Aberdeen 3-4 times a week and on weekends to show houses.
Yeah, the agent sent me over like a list of like houses that I could do open houses for, and one of them is in the 600,000 range, but it's in Cecil County.
Okay, so let's talk about that in just a minute. We're going to use that in just a second. Okay. So first you look at location, then you look at price, right? So he sorts by price. So he's looking at the price and looking at locations. You kind of look simultaneously. Now, here's the thing. You're going to pull up, we have price ranges. If you pull up our inventory right now, we have huge investor friendly population here. So we have a lot of agents who have a house at $79,000, $82,000, $112,000. You're not doing an open house on those. Okay. So you can just kind of cut them out of the thought process, right? And then you might see something at the very top, right? One of our agents has $1 million property right now. Now, would I call that agent still and be like, hey, are you doing any brokers open, any open houses? Do you need any help with that? Doesn't hurt to ask, right? But you're going to limit yourself on leads. A $1 million property will limit you on leads. You're not going to have as much of a pool, traditionally, as much of a pool of 6, 7, 12. We had an agent who did an open house. They literally had 42 people come in. 42 people. That's insane. Now, we had another agent last weekend doing one. 0 came in. You're going to have that too. You will all sit in an open house and nobody shows up. We'll talk about what to do when that happens. Don't let me forget. So look at price, look at location, and choose what makes the most sense for you. So here we have Cecil County. So it's an hour drive. Okay. Now they're pre-approved for, the open house, sorry. The open house is 600,000, which means that the buyers going to look at it are buyers who are going to want that area, but who probably also, the majority of them, can afford that area.
Yeah.
Okay. So now what I like to do is work out time versus money. So if I were to do, let's say, a 2 or 2.5% commission on that, let's do quick math. Okay. Now I'm just gonna do 600,000 times 2.5%, right? So it's 15,000. Obviously, whether you're capped, not capped, splits, all that stuff, I'm not going to get into that right now. But let's just use a blanket number. You have to ask yourself, am I okay driving an hour for a commission check of somewhere around 10,000? That's per agent choice. Nobody can choose that but you. Am I okay with that? Absolutely. I live in Howard County. I sit 695 every day. I do drive an hour. We drive an hour every day here.
A little
less than an hour, a little like 45 minutes, right?
Yeah.
So you have to ask yourself those questions.
When you put it like that, though, it does sound good. Like,
Right.
because I have the mindset like, what if nobody shows up and I'm like, no.
Well, here's the thing. That might happen.
Right. So I wasted my time, but no.
So here's the thing. You will have the moment where you're going to think I wasted my time because nobody showed up. So what you do is, number one, you always want to have something to do real estate related at an open house. Bring something with you to do real estate related, because you might sit there. I remember my first open house I ever did. Oh my God. It's hilarious. So I was so excited. It was my friend's listing. She's like, can you do an open house for me? I was like, it's my first one. I door knocked. I met the neighbors. First of all, the owners of that house sat on the porch of the next door neighbor and watched the whole time. So that was nerve wracking. There's nothing you can do about that. Nothing you can, don't argue. Just wave and say hi. All right. Just wave and say hi. Do not argue. All right. You're representing them. Right. So that was nerve wracking. And then I'm there for 2 hours. And the first hour, no lie, hour and 45 minutes. Nobody. 0. So you always want to have something with you to do real estate related to work on your business, but you need to have it be something where you can drop it at a split second. So don't call people, because if all of a sudden you're talking to someone and someone walks in, you basically need to hang up on them, because the person who walks in the door is the first priority, right? So don't make phone calls when you're at the open house, but you can text people. You can work on your database. You can email people. Like, there's things you can do, right? Create maybe a flyer to then, after the open house, walk around the neighborhood, right? With maybe like something on your phone to give them. I don't know. I'm just thinking out loud right now, right? So is it a chance? Yes. Yes. You might go and you might just sit there. And then on the flip side, you might go and land a buyer or even a seller at $600,000. Right? So these are choices we have to make as agents individually.
I think I'm gonna go in with the mindset of I'm gonna make $10,000.
I think you should. Because here's the thing, even if nobody shows, but people are going to show because you're going to take these steps. Even if nobody shows, have a plan to do something afterwards, right? Get video of that open house, share it on social media, like really blast that out, right? All right. So you pick the right house, create marketing materials, right? Flyers, a registration sheet. We'll talk about that in a minute. Scorecard, we'll talk about what that is in a minute. I'll share an example of that. Okay, so you're creating your materials prior to the open house, not the morning of, to then get freaked out. I had this agent who literally was 2 hours away from hosting an open house, and they put everything off until the last minute, and then they're printed in. Oh no! Then they came in this office here, and yeah, okay, technology does happen. It happened to be a day that our printer jammed.
Wow.
So then they got super like nervous, and then they ran off to like a Staples or a Kinko. Please don't do this day of. Please stop doing that to yourself. All right. Yes.
So you said like after the open house, why would you go around and flyers around the homeowners?
Ooh, I'm gonna give you a script on that. Yep. In about, hold on. In about 3 pages. I'm gonna give you. What's your name? Sharita. I'm gonna give you. Oh. I owe you a text. I was away. I just got back. Okay. Okay. So you're creating materials ahead of time, even if it's a day ahead of time. That's still ahead of time. And then you're marketing. Now, here's the thing with marketing. Number one, you're inviting your database. Now, here's your database. If you don't have a database, now database means you have people in like Command or some other technology system, but database also just means your phone. If you don't have them in a system yet, that would make it way easier if you have them in a system, because then you can just create the flyer, click send, and send it to everybody, right? But if you don't, use your phone. Don't say, well, I don't have that built yet, so never mind, I won't do it. Don't use that as an excuse. Who do you have that lives in Maryland? Ignore the, so here's the thing. Here's what our little voice on our shoulder says. Ready for it? Our voice says, yeah, but they're not buying. They're not in that Cecil County. They're not in Cecil County. They're not buying. Why would they want this information? Like, they already have a house. I want you to ignore all of that. Instead, invite them all. Hey, swing by, say hi. I'm going to be doing this open house. I'm so excited. Check out this picture. It's awesome. Get in the car, come on by and say hi to me. That's it. You're not saying buy a house. You're just saying come on by. Why is that so important? To blast to everybody you know who lives in Maryland that you have in your phone. Yes, word of mouth. Why is that so important? It's free. Yes, exactly. 100%. That's exactly what I was looking for. It's free. You now shot it to, let's say you send it to 100 people you know, right? And even if one of them shows up, you just got a person who shows up. Now, why did they show? Did they show because they want to support you because they really love you as a friend? Cool, that's really nice of them, right? Did they show because maybe they're not looking in that area, but they're like, wow, I just want to see some homes. Why do people really want to see homes though? People don't just randomly see homes. Why did a person walk in that house?
Because they want to buy eventually.
They want to buy eventually. So if your friend who lives in Bethesda drives to Cecil County to see a house, it does not mean she wants to buy in Cecil County. It might simply mean, oh my God, I just want to go see some homes. My friend's hanging out at this house. I'm going to go see her. But now it strikes the conversation like, hey, what do you love about this place? Did you check out that closet? My God, that's huge. Right? Point things out. Like, now you live in Bethesda, right? Oh yeah. Do you rent or own? Oh, I rent. You ever thought about owning? See how we're in a conversation now? Right? So we're buying our database. Inviting neighbors. Here's where the flyer comes into play. So you have a house. Typically, it has houses around it. Here's the rule of thumb. When a for sale sign goes in a yard, typically within 90 days, now it's about 4 months. So within 90 days to 4 months, anywhere from 1 to 3 other houses will go up for sale. What's interesting, so start noticing this. When you see a sign in a yard, I want you to really pay attention to it. Okay, I'm gonna activate your brains right now. When you see a sign in the yard, I want you to be like, "Ooh, that's a new sign." Then I want you to go to that area over the next month or two, see how many other signs you see. What happens is when a sign goes in the yard, neighbors, this is what happens behind the scenes. Neighbors are like, "Oh, look, Susie's home's up for sale. Oh, look at that. Oh, I wonder what it's listed for." Then all of a sudden it becomes dinner conversation. Hey, so I'm sitting at dinner with my husband. I'm like, "Did you see our neighbor's house for sale? I wonder what it's going for. Like, let's look that up. Oh my God. Should we sell?" This is how it goes. Right? So what happens is there's needles in the haystack. So let's say there's 100 houses around that one house. Anywhere from 1 to 3 of them are going to sell. And they're going to choose an agent probably in the next 4 months. It's the agent that finds the needles in the haystack who wins them. And the best and fastest way to do that is door knock, which, by the way, even if you're not hosting an open house, now I get some slack for this sometimes from other agents, but I just like to say it because I'm sorry, 80+% of agents don't door knock around open houses. So if they're not going to, you might as well. Even if you don't have an open house you're hosting this weekend, still go online and find homes, or go on Bright MLS and look up your zip code where you live, or a zip code of a price point area you like. Like there's an agent here who farms my neighborhood in Howard County, because I'm like, my neighborhood has like the highest turnover possible. I'm like in like starter townhomes for like new families. So our turnover rate every year is huge. By March, there's usually like 20 homes on the market. It's crazy. So anyways, she drives. Where's she in Owings Mills or Reisterstown? Something like that. Yeah. So even if you don't have an open house going on this weekend, choose a location you like or a price point you like. Time is money. And you can do this process, the same process for this. You just can't say, "This is my house." You also can't say, "I'm hosting the open house." But you can say, "Hey," so I'm going to use the open house script first, then I'll move to if you don't have one. The open house one would be you just knocking on the neighbor's door, be like inviting them. "Hi, I'm Alana, local real estate agent with Keller Williams Legacy. Just going around the neighborhood to introduce myself and invite you to the open house that I'm doing this coming Saturday." Right. And I might door knock on Friday for a Saturday, or I might, if there's a lot of doors, I might do Thursday and Friday for Saturday. Don't door knock Monday and Tuesday for Saturday. They're going to forget. You want to do it as close as possible. Right. If it's Sunday, maybe you want to do Friday and Saturday, something like that. Right. So you're door knocking all those doors, not to say, "Hi, do you want to buy or sell?" but simply, "Hey, let me introduce myself. Come on by, swing by. It's going to be, check it out. Be a nosy neighbor. It's going to be Saturday from 11 to 2 or 11:01, whatever it is." Right. Now, here's the thing. If that person is interested in selling, one or two things is going to happen. They're either going to swing by the open house, right? Or they're actually going to say it right then and there. "Oh, wow, what's it listed for?" Okay, so interesting. Now, second someone asked me that, but like, "Oh, I love that you asked that question. Are you curious about the price of your home? I'm happy to, swing by tomorrow with a free home evaluation for you, 15 minutes. See how that was kind of warm and friendly, not like, "Hi, do you want to sell your house?" Right? Don't go in with that. That's weird. Did that answer the why are we door knocking neighbors? Yes. The other reason is you'll be so also surprised. So that's how people get a lot of sellers. When you really work a neighborhood right, you can find the sellers. The other reason you door knock is you never know what neighbor wants a friend to live near them or relative, right? Lauren has a family member. Lauren is our director of operations here. She's the one that pays you. Okay. So she is a family member who literally just submitted a contract on a house across from their other family members. They've been waiting until a house came available in this neighborhood to be across the street from family members.
I sold like 6 houses to where the person was living next to it. Like 600.
Yeah, you'd be really surprised. Like people want to live near their friends, right? When my friend bought her new build, I can't tell you how many times she's like, "Do you see that property? Do you see that property? Can you move next to me?" I was like, "I'm not moving to your area. Number one, it's way too expensive. I like my townhouse. I don't take care of anything. I don't want a lawn. That's too much work." Right? And then post to social media. Please post to social media. It is free branding. All right. Instagram, Facebook, whatever you got, all of them. Right. There's the thing. Post to social media. I'll share some examples of that in just a minute of like what that can look like. Don't overthink it.
Today was on marketing your listing when we did social media posts and open house flyers. So the recording will be available by next week.
Number 4, get ready to host, right? So set out signs. We'll talk about that in a minute on how many signs are best practices. You're going to be shocked at the number. I'm going to have you guess at the number. Arrive early. Okay, so if the open house starts at 11, Kirsten, what time do you get to open houses when they start at 11?
Oh, it depends, because if I'm getting a sign, sometimes I'm doing a lot there, so I could be there pretty early.
Right. But like getting to the property itself to go in.
Yeah.
Oh, those are.
I mean, between 30 and 15 minutes.
Yeah, so if it's a vacant property.
Yeah.
Right.
A lot of times mine are vacant.
If it's vacant property, you can get there as early as you want, really. You can get there, set yourself up, stuff up, and then go walk around the neighborhood, come back. If it's if they're living there, definitely 15 minutes early. You can do a little bit earlier, but you want to make sure it's okay with the owners, right? The reason you don't want to show up on time is the marketing is set for 11 a.m. You don't want to be walking in the house, because here's what you do. When you walk in that house, first you unlock the back door and the front door so people can look at the backyard and stuff. You open all the blinds. You make sure curtains are closed. The shower curtains are all closed. You make sure toilet seats are down. God. Oh my God. That is like showing a home 101 right there. All right. Please make sure toilet seats, right? Now I usually bring a little notebook because my memory sucks. It is horrible. So I'll bring a little notebook, or I'll send myself a text on when I walked into the house, what lights were already on and off, because you have to leave the house the exact way you saw it, or the owners will be pissed. And then they're going to call their agent who's selling it, and they will not want you to host an open house for them again. You're there to represent that owner of the house, so you want to do right by them, right? So this was something that I learned from an agent who got cursed out really bad by an owner because they left one light on in a room, right? Which, by the way, so my husband and I, we don't live with lights. Like we do, we'll turn lights on like when we cook and like things like that, like getting ready in the morning. But if we leave a room, we turn the lights off. We don't have shoes in the house. We turn lights off. We are that couple. All right. I love my electricity bill to be like this big. So if one of you is hosting an open house for my home and I came home and all the lights were on, I'd be like, really? My husband though? Yeah. You'd never be allowed in that house again. All right. So just be very mindful of that, right? And then follow-ups. We're going to talk about that in more detail in a minute, because there's best practices on that. All right. So this goes into even more detail on what we talked about, right? Picking the right house. We talked about that. New markets, mid-range properties. By the way, you can also go to new builds and go to the model home and ask the person in there if they ever partner excuse me, if they ever partner with agents to allow an agent to do an open house for one of their model homes. Right? Or one of their built homes. Usually their homes are, right now, homes are being built, they're already sold. So usually it's the model home, right? But you'll be surprised how many builders will actually let you do an open house there as well.
Really? I thought builders like hired their own agents.
Builders will, so some builders have salespeople who do that. Some builders will, many builders will partner with agents and form, if it's a good partnership, they'll be their agent until that agent messes up, and then they'll find a new one. So builders are a great source of business. Yeah. I had a friend down in Annapolis. He had a builder that he built a 9-year relationship with his builder. Like, you were like in, right? Nobody could touch this builder. This guy had lockdown. And every time this builder went and did a new build, he allowed this agent to put signs in half of the yards. Right? To put his for sale signs in half of the new build yards. So this agent got to plaster for sale signs in some of the yards. They also allowed him to list at least 1 or 2 on Bright MLS, right, to get leads. Right? Yeah, now that's a great relationship. This is not a new build class, so let me bring it back to open houses. That's a whole other topic. All right. So again, we talked about marketing materials. There's some great flyers already pre-made in Command in Designs. All you're doing is plugging and playing with property address, the best photos that you just pull right from MLS. They're already there, right? Or your photographer, whichever one. I would also recommend partnering with a lender on open houses. By the way, lenders are great to bring with you. Right? I might go to Donnell. I might go to Donnell back there, who's with Fairway Mortgage, right? Fairway Mortgage, Malcolm, Janine, Donnell, a few other individuals that are great. I might go to Donnell and be like, hey, Donnell, I'm doing open house on Sunday. Want to come? Want to hang out? Why would that be beneficial? There's a few reasons. They could absolutely connect to the buyer right there and get a quick pre-qualification, maybe, right? Yep. The start of it. Yep, absolutely. Or at least the relationship going to feel a little at ease. Right? Why else? Safety. You're there by yourself in a house. Always think of safety. Safety for real estate agents. I'm going to sidetrack for just a minute on safety, and then I'm going to come back and we're going to get through the rest of this in about 15 minutes. Safety for real estate agents is very important. No matter where you are and what city you're in, don't assume. Right? So, number one, anytime you're doing an open house, always let somebody close to you know where you're going to be. Have a safe word. So like whenever I did open houses, my husband knew I had a safe word, dragonfly. Now you all know it. Okay. So that's my tattoo. So everybody, so he knew that. When I got to the house, I sent him a text. Hey, I'm here. We had the little find my phone thingy, like you know how you can ping somebody like in your phone, like you can drop a pin and they can see it, like see you, like where you are. So we did that. And then every time I left the open house to get back in my car, hey, I'm back in so he knew what time the open house started and ended. He had the address, he had the safe word, and also I texted him when I got there and texted him when I left. Right. So as agents, we need to be really aware of that, really mindful of that, right? So partnering with a lender adds to, yes, it's great for the buyers, they have to meet that person. It's great for you because now they have the connection. And also, it's just really fun to do it with another person. Let's face it, you're hanging out at a house for 2 hours. You might not have anybody show up for an hour and 45 minutes. Hang out with somebody. Yeah. Text people together, leave them together, right? But also safety in numbers. Okay. All right. So let's talk a little bit about the registration sheet and the scorecard. Now, the scorecard is the newest thing I kind of want to talk about because most agents do not do it. And I think here's the thing, people love feeling engaged, right? They love that feeling of like being engaged with something. So a scorecard allows that consumer who's walking through the house to be engaged with something. Registration sheet, whether that is a paper registration, name, email, phone number. That's what you're looking to collect. Okay, those 3 pieces. If you go to Google and you literally type in real estate open house sheets, there's a bajillion templates in there. Okay, find one you like, copy, paste. Right? Don't reinvent the wheel. There's digital. There's an app called Open House app.
Now, for the new websites, that's supposed to be built in. I haven't played with it yet, but that's something we're getting. That's part of the plan.
So it will be built into Command where you can literally just have it right on your iPad, right?
I haven't played with this before.
So we'll be built into your already, for those here at Legacy, your technology you get with us, it will be built into that. Right now though, I know some people use Open House, what's called Open House app, right? That works best on an iPad. Don't bring your computers. You do not want your computer that's umpteen dollars hanging out because that will walk away. Your iPad, at least you can hold. You don't want to be standing there while people walk in the door just holding the computer, right? And if you put it down, one of your open houses, you will not pick it up again because it will be gone. Sorry.
I never thought about that, because I do like, I've done my computer, and it just makes it easier than the type on it.
It does, but if you don't have vision on it or you don't have a second person with you, even if you, here's the thing, if I mean, you know, when I first got in the business, I brought my daughter who was, when did I get in? Was she in middle school, I guess then? End of middle school, beginning of high school. She came with me on a few, right? And she would sit there and she, you know, play on her laptop, do things. She actually created flyers for me. I was like, I'll pay you $25, create a bunch of flyers, right? I love teenagers because they will literally do so much for you for such a little price. If you have kids, use them, all right? Yes, I'm saying that and being recorded. Yeah, just be mindful of safety for yourself, but also your technology, because these things are expensive. So whether you use digital, whether you use paper, to be honest with you, another favorite method of mine personally is the Keller Williams consumer app that you have on your phone. So let's say Lauren is walking into an open house right now that I'm hosting. I'm going to greet her, right? I don't know her. So we're going to role play right now. Hi. So, hi, welcome. My name's Alana and you are?
Lauren.
Hi, Lauren. So I'm a local real estate agent with Keller Williams Legacy. So where are you coming from?
Baltimore.
Oh, okay, like in the city or county?
County.
County. Okay, cool. Well, here's an information sheet on the house, the printout from Bright MLS, right? And let me go ahead and I'm just going to share this with you right now. What this is going to do is actually give you more of an update on not only this house, but you can also look at all the houses around it as well. Okay, so hold on. I'm going to share with you right now. What's the best phone number for you?
443.
Blah, 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 blah. And what's the best email?
realtorlauren@gmail.com.
Okay, Lauren is awesome at gmail.com. Got it. Awesome. And I'm going to say my name is Alana. Cool. Click. Okay, so you should have on your phone. It's a free app. Pulls right from what's called the multiple listing service. So you have everything at your fingertips. There you go. What did I just capture?
All her information, or would you?
Bam!
You know, and the app has on it, here's where people don't want to take it. The thing that has on that they like is the affordability calculator. So because there's a lot of places they can see houses for sale, but that's not in everything. And I thought people would be mad just from that.
Yeah, so if they're like, oh, no. Okay, well, it also has an affordability calculator. So if you want to play with numbers, be sitting at home tonight, seeing house prices and all that, what you can afford, what your monthly payment's going to be. It's cool. It's free. So you can, but let me share this little, may I share a little real estate secret? That's how I say it, by the way. Can I share a little real estate secret that just real estate agents know? Zillow is about 10% accurate. Maybe. This is actually built by agents for consumers, your consumer. So this is built by real estate brokerage for consumers. Right. Let me go ahead and share that with you right now. What's your number? What's your email address? Right. So again, there's a lot of different ways to capture the information. Now, here's the thing. There was an agent recently who was like, I did an open house, but I didn't get everybody's information. They didn't want to give it. You are not allowed to use that excuse. Here's why. The history of open houses was not about lead generation. It was actually about selling houses. And the history of open houses and collecting information was not about us getting leads. It turned into that. It was actually about safety. So let's pretend all of you own a house right now. All own it. You might, I don't know. You all own a house right now. And you're not in your house right now because you're all here hanging out, unless you're on Zoom, sorry. So you're all here hanging out. And then over the next 2 hours, you have 20, 30 people walking through your house, strangers. Are you nervous a little bit? You have 20, 30 strangers walking through your house. Right? What if you got home and something was broken? What if you got home and something was stolen? Right? If not everybody signs in, how do you protect your seller? The sign-in sheet is not about leads. Okay, is it about leads? Yes, of course. It's about us as agents getting leads. But on that's behind the scene look. On the consumer side, the sign-in sheet is for security and safety purposes for the benefit of the owner of the home. If you ever get someone who says, you know what, Lauren, I just want the information, just want to walk around the house. I don't want to sign in. Listen, I can respect that. I can. And I have to do what's right for the owner of this house. And for safety and security purposes, we do need everybody before they tour the house to sign in. The information's not going anywhere. It's just with me. This is my card. Here's my information. If you start getting spammed by whatever, you can call me. Right? It's not going anywhere. I promise. This is literally, let me ask you, if you owned a home and had 30 people walking through your house, wouldn't you kind of want to know who was in it if something broke? I'm not saying you're walking around breaking things, but wouldn't you want to know? When you really explain it that way, they're giving you the information. Right? If someone truly does not want to give information, I might ask them to leave personally, because they're probably a person who might steal something. I don't trust anybody. Can you tell? I've seen way too much. Beep happen everywhere, every county, which is super sad, but true. So I'm always on heightened alert, Okay, finally, the scorecard. The scorecard is really fun. So when a client comes in, what the scorecard does, let me show you an example of it. Here you go.
This one's expand. I just pulled it up. You do this yourself.
So this scorecard is really cool. Now, what I would do, I would tweak it a little bit, which you can. I would actually have on there the address of the house, right? Now, when they walk around, so when they come in the house, introduce yourself, get their information, name, phone number, email address, find out a little bit about them. Where are you coming from? Awesome. Oh, is this your first open house you've stopped by today? Nobody ever goes to just one. Oh my God, your second. Where was your other one? That's awesome. And everything's awesome. Everything's great. Wonderful. Even if you're having a bad day, it's still awesome. Just smile, just pretend. All right. And then be like, hey, okay, here's information on the home, which is the printout from MLS. And we'd love for you to fill out this scorecard as you're walking through the house. Please go ahead and fill this in. You'll notice at the bottom of your information, that's just used for me. It's not going anywhere, just for me. My name's Alana. But the owner or myself would really love to know your true and honest feedback of the home. Right. And it's really cool how many people actually really enjoy walking around the house. And by the way, nobody comes with pens and pencils. So bring a little thing of those mini golf pencils or a little thing of pens or something simple. Right. And they fill it out. And then they hand it back to you. Yeah, this is fun. This is a great one. Most agents do not use this, and the agents who do get so much great feedback on it. So we talked about inviting your database. We talked about inviting the neighbors. We talked about posting to social media. Oh, please make sure when you post to social media, you are including the actual day and time and address of the open house. The other day, someone posted an open house that's coming up this weekend, and it was a picture. And I'm like, that's awesome. Where is it?
Right.
Like, how does someone know to go there? Right. So please provide some details. Oh, it is. Yeah, because we're moving so fast, we forget the little details, right? Absolutely. Absolutely. Some examples of social media posts. Right, so here's the address. It says new listing over here, has a picture. Right. Now, my personal opinion, now this is just my personal opinion. Kirsten knows exactly where I'm going with this. This is too busy, too noisy, and too many words. I'm sorry, nobody's stopping for this scroll like this. This is not. Now, it might be just because it's on the screen here. Right, so I wouldn't recommend this exact, but pick from it, right? You want a picture, you want a hot new listing, or just on the market, something catchy. You want to put a few emojis in there, not crazy, maybe 3, 4 best. It stops the people, it catches an eye. Now you want to put a picture. Now the picture could be either one picture as a teaser, maybe it's a beautiful kitchen, or it could be maybe 2, but I wouldn't put more than 2 because you want them to go to the house, right? Now there is one thing. Did I skip it? Nope. Oh, I didn't skip it. Okay, it's on the next screen. Okay. So next we're going to talk about setting out signs. Now in the state of Maryland, unless something changed, but I don't believe it has because I'm trying to stay up on date on that. As agents in the state of Maryland, we cannot put out signs for an open house prior to 5 o'clock on a Friday. Check your county for more specific details. Yeah, I know that for Howard County because that's what I used to do a lot of. Yeah. Check your county for your specific details. If you need more information on that, please ask our broker, Doug. Let me point you to the right direction. So prior to the open house, so let's say the open house is Saturday or Sunday. You want to put out open house signs on Friday, whatever time of the day that is, depending on the county. Different directionals. They do sell. I mean, there's so many ways you can go on Google and buy open. There's so many links you can buy open house signs. You can also just go to Home Depot and Lowe's and buy open house signs. They have the open house signs that you can. It's kind of like dry erase. Right, those are my favorite because let's say you have an open house from 2 to 4 on a Sunday, and you put them out Friday, but it doesn't say when. It's just, you ever go by open house signs and there's just directionals? You're like, when the hell is the open house? Right? Give details. Right? All you need to say is Sunday from 2 to 4, and then they're following the directional things, right? That's why I like the dry erase ones because you can just reuse and reuse, right? But let's take a guess. How many, this one's typically shocking, how many open house signs do you think you should put out? Now, it will also vary. I will say this, there's certain locations in the city you can't do this. That's my disclaimer. But minus that, on average, what do you think?
When I was doing it for Jackie, we did 3 to 5.
Okay, I heard 3 to 5. Let's take some more guesses. Who on Zoom? I haven't heard from someone on Zoom. What do you guys think?
I don't know how many, but I've decided I just got some open house signs with my picture on it, and I mix them in.
Okay, now if you do your picture, you have to make sure they're compliant with our your brokerage logo.
It does.
Yep, and I think the brokerage office number needs to be on that, but I'm not 100%
It is.
positive. We need to check with Doug on that one. But as long as the logo's on there, yeah, because you need to show that you're affiliated. If you add more than just the words open house, you need to show you're affiliated with a brokerage. That's a Maryland commission thing. So, any other guesses on numbers?
Number it says here, and I've never done that.
Okay. So this 7th level open house hosting says 20 to 40. So I'm going to give you a story. I'm going to give you a story right now. I know we're running out of time, but we're almost done. So there's an agent. He is the top agent in the entire nation. Nation, not state, nation. He's in Maryland though. So he's the top agent in Maryland, top agent in the nation. And when I first got into real estate, I followed a lot of their marketing that he did. So I was like, okay, top agent, I'm going to look at a lot of the marketing. And every time this person did an open house, I wanted to go and attend it. Could you close the?
Yeah.
Oh, it's Wednesday. They're supposed to be in here.
Yeah.
Shoot. Okay, that's right. I need to get out. Latoya, I'm getting out. I promise. Give me 2 minutes. Kick me out. All right. There's another class in there. So, long story short, I go to this open house. I'm driving. I'm probably like a few miles out from the open house, and I start seeing open house signs. I was like, and there was 2 right next to each other. And then I go down a road and there's 2 more next to each other, and then 2 at the corner, and then 2 over here, and then 2 here. And then see where I'm going with this? I think that one had maybe 20. It wasn't 40, but it was definitely more than 20.
Man.
But I will tell you, that worked.
Yeah.
Like, even if you didn't want to go to the open house, you almost had to go to the open house because now you're just following these freaking signs. Like the signs were like, but it was like 2 and then 2 and then 2. It wasn't like, I'm going to put this one here and then 4 miles down the road, I'm going to put one more. So if you think about it, when you're driving, so prior to doing the open house, let's say you have an open house Saturday, on Thursday, before Friday, Thursday, drive around and say, what is my route to get here? Where are people going to be driving from? Where are people looking? Where am I looking? Right? And then you're kind of piecing out like, okay, that's a main traffic area. I want that. Okay, now I want them to know to turn down this road here. So I definitely need a corner over there. And then it's like 3 blocks down. So I'm going to need a few more. They're going to think there isn't anything. Right? They're going to be like, wait, I haven't seen anything for a while. So I'm going to put a few more there. Oh, okay, now it's like 3 blocks down. So, but it's like 2 blocks down on this road. See where I'm going with this? So do a pre-drive on Thursday to plot out what you need for that Friday. I would even do a pre-drive like early in the week to make sure you have enough signs. Even if it's those little tiny, the smaller ones you get for like $6 at Home Depot. Do not quote me on that price. I really don't know how much they are. Okay. And then finally, follow-up tips. Here's the thing. Don't do an open house if you don't plan to follow up. I'm leaving the room, Savage, kick me out. Do not do an open house if you don't plan to follow up. The success is in the follow-up. When you do an open house, you want to follow up, in my opinion, that same day. If not, you definitely want 24 hours later at max. The reason for that is a person just doesn't go to one open house. If I go to Lauren's open house in Cecil County, right, and she gets my name and number, and then I go to Daniel's open house after that, and then I go to Kim's open house, whichever agent calls me first wins. So if Lauren's like, well, I don't want to bother them on the weekend, so I'm going to call them Tuesday. And then Kim's like, well, I'll send them an email and I'll call them on, Monday afternoon. And then Daniel's like, well, it was Saturday that I met them, so I'm going to call them Sunday morning. Who wins? Who just won those people? Daniel.
Daniel.
So Kim, Lauren, sorry you lost. All right. Me? Wait. 8 p.m. So in the state of Maryland, it's 8 to 8.
I go by that. I don't know if it's in, didn't know it was.
I believe state of Maryland's 8 to 8. Yeah. So again, if you're hoping an open house, call that same day or the very next day after at the latest. And if they don't answer, try them again, and then try them again, and then try them again, and then try them again. Okay. All right. So thank you so much for showing up. I'm going to put my email address in here. If you want a copy of the playbook, please send me an email and I will send this to you. There's so much more goodies in it that would probably be like a 4-hour class. Just Ilana, ILANA at kw.com. Any questions on it, please reach out. And everybody schedule an open house to do. They're not difficult. They just take some timing and some planning. Thank you very much, everybody. Have an amazing night.